It's a real pleasure to welcome a Magsaysay Award-winning journalist who has spent years reporting from parts of India that rarely make headlines. For over 4 decades, P. Sainath has reported from the ground, telling stories that often don't make it to mainstream platforms. He is the founder-editor of People's Archive of Rural India, a platform that documents the lives, struggles, and voices of rural communities across the country. Through his reporting and books like Everybody Loves a Good Drought, he has consistently asked uncomfortable questions about development, policy, and inequality. At a time when the spotlight is often elsewhere, his work reminds us of the India that is still unseen, unheard, and often misunderstood.
We betrayed our constitution, which is a social contract of the freedom struggle and the people of India. In 1991, this country did not have a single dollar billionaire. Today it has 220. Almost 15 million farmers exited agriculture. You are juggling all these balls. You're borrowing more money to pay off that other money lender. Hundreds of suicides have happened. You see where this particular pattern exists. It's like a farmer is living in a pressure cooker that explodes. I will give you the agrarian crisis in 5 words. Corporate hijack of Indian agriculture. See, first of all, I don't know why we should call it mainstream media. We should call it corporate media. But I'm saying the dilemma is, how do I sell my labor without selling my soul? That's the dilemma of the journalist. Right. For me, the only journalism that matters is journalism where the J stands for justice.
Thank you so much for joining me. Let me begin with this. What is the single biggest truth about rural distress that urban India still refuses to see?
Well, the biggest single truth about rural distress is planned and constructed inequality. Yeah. From 1991, we violated the Indian Constitution in letter, in spirit, in principle. Your Constitution, Part 4, Directive Principles of State Policy, commits the Indian state to fighting inequality, right? And it says the material resources and of the society shall not be concentrated in the hands of a few. From 1991, we changed that path of development. We betrayed our constitution, which is a social contract of the freedom struggle and the people of India, what they fought for. In 1991, this country did not have a single dollar billionaire. Today it has 220. And the value of these, their net worth, of total net worth of these 200 and odd billionaires is over $1 trillion. That means 25-26% of your GDP equivalent. Yeah. So the thing about from 1952, we began betraying the constitution by not getting rid of feudal landlordism, these things in agriculture. One of the very first acts independent India passed was abolition of zamindari, but you never actually did it, right? So you ended up with a kind of semi-feudal, semi-capitalist agriculture. And that led to, stagnation. In between, you suddenly grew quite a bit. Despite that, you grew quite a bit, but not as much as, say, a China did or what a Vietnam did. But you did grow. You grew better than you did after 91 when you completely pushed agriculture to the margins. Yeah, and you can see it also. Every census from 51, the number of farmers goes up, it increases. 61, 71, 81, 91 census, number of farmers increases. Of course, that's partly because of fragmentation of land. Father has 5 sons, you split. But the number of farmers increased. From 91, when we brought in the so-called new economic policies, which is another word for neoliberalism and neoliberal globalization, the number of farmers has plummeted.
Okay.
By the way, not just in India, all over the world, such policies are seeing farmers being pushed out.
Okay.
Between the 91 census and 2001 census, the number of farmers, full-time farmers, main cultivator as they're called, reduced by 7.2 million. The 2001 census shows you that. Between 2001 and 2011 census, the number of farmers fell further by 7.7 million. That means almost 15 million farmers exited agriculture. Because, and that's how you get your, when you, in the middle of COVID, you're seeing people go back to the villages.
Yep.
By the way, people are going back to the villages again now because of the US-Israel war on Iran, LPG shortage, fertilizer shortage, gas shortage. Many migrants from Tamil Nadu have gone back to Bihar. Yeah, because they can't cook food. Yeah, and in small tenements you can't use firewood. They won't allow you to. So people earning 1,050 rupees a day in Tambaram, Chennai, have gone back to Nalanda, Bihar, where they earn maximum 250 rupees in the field in a day. So we destroyed the stability of the countryside. Yeah, we did that in several ways. One, we allowed unleashing of so-called market prices. Now for a farmer, in 1991, a bag of DAP, diammonium phosphate, cost 180 rupees for a bag of 50 kilograms.
Okay.
Today, it's costing 1,400 to 1,500 rupees, and they've made it 45 kilograms in Maharashtra and elsewhere. So you've multiplied the costs, but you've actually reduced the quantity. Yeah. Every input, we opened it up to multinational racketeering corporations like Monsanto, people like this. Hybrid seed was already damaging. Originally, many farmers, cotton farmers, they were using their own seed. Then after the Green Revolution, they shifted to hybrid seed. Hybrid seed in 91 was going for about, even as late as 2000, was going for about 350 rupees, 300 rupees for a bag of 450 grams, which is 1 pound. Then we brought in BT cotton. It entered India illegally. We legalized it. BT cotton in 2013, in 2004 was selling for, and it wiped out all the others. It was selling for 1,600 to 1,800, 1,650 to 1,800 rupees for the same 1 pound, for which farmer was paying 350. Now, if you put it into kilograms, you'll see that it works to nearly a, well over a 2000% increase. Then the cost of fertilizers went up.
Right.
Then the cost of electricity, the cost of everything went up. Water costs went up. All the inputs that a farmer buys on the market went up between 200%, 500%. Like seed, 500% also it went up. But the farmer's income did not go up.
Right.
The cost of cultivation went up 5 times, but the farmer's income didn't even go up. It did double even once. So then we had, we removed restrictions on various activities which should have been restricted to the farmer. We allowed companies, corporations, business to come in. The most important thing we did was to destroy the credit system available to the farmer. Your great leap in production and grain revolution, all of that came because public sector banks, because in 1969 you nationalized the private banks, about 50 crores, and for the first time in their lives, the Indian farmer was getting official formal credit at low interest rates. Soon, from 91, we started diverting this agricultural credit towards agri-business. I live in Mumbai. There are no farmers. But 52% of Maharashtra's agricultural credit is disbursed in Mumbai banks. So who's getting it? So there were all these policies devastated the farmer, and the same farmer also has to send children to school, look after parents' hospitalization, and health and education costs rose more than anything in the last 20-30 years. In one line, we have been trying to move agriculture from the hands of the farmer to the hands of the corporations.
We talk about farmer suicides only at the end. What is the first invisible step that leads to a farmer suicide?
See, any suicide has a multiplicity of reasons. Very few suicides I know of that are to a single reason. The first step, see how it builds up is what is important. Suddenly you're not able to afford the input costs. 2, you're not able to get credit. At the very moment that you need the credit, we are diverting credit to corporations and business. And at the very moment that you need credit, we are raising prices on everything in the name of market prices. So, all your costs have gone up. What does it mean? It means you need more credit. And at that moment, we are diverting credit. So, you then, what is your option? You go to a money lender,
right,
to the Sahukar. You go to the money lender. Many farmers are in a trap that they can't come out of. They go to the money lender, then next season they borrow from another money lender. Then they borrow from another money lender. Every farmer has 4 to 6 kinds of loans. From the co-op bank, the nationalized bank, from money lender 1, 2, 3, 4. So you are juggling all these balls. You're borrowing more money to pay off that other money lender. Hundreds of suicides have happened. You see where this particular pattern exists. The thing, then suddenly your aging mother has to go to hospital. you are simply unable to pay, even dream of paying that kind of cost. What do you do to do that? You want to save your mother. More private credit. No bank will give you that. Right? So that pushing of the farmer, that it's like a farmer is living in a pressure cooker. That explodes. And it is the cumulative result of all these policies. And you keep bringing in newer policies that increase that pressure.
There is a growing fear about big players in farming. Is Indian agriculture moving towards corporate control?
Very rapidly. Not only Indian corporate control, in December 2024, the government of India through ICAR signed collaborations, so-called collaborations, that give Bayer, the huge multinational, Bayer and Amazon, okay, your delivery thing, they gave them complete free access to AgriStack, which is India's central database on agriculture. Now they can look at that data and plan their selling campaigns and how to outmaneuver others. Now Amazon was signed this agreement to teach the farmers to improve their logistics. Yeah, some guy sitting in Amazon, Delhi or Hyderabad, in a three-piece suit, he is going to teach Baire Gowda in Mysore how to improve his logistics. Then there are other plans that, like the UPA had, the Million Farmer Scheme, where one group of farmers would be trained by some corporation, ITC. ITC had to train Tamil Nadu farmers in how to better grow ragi. Tamil Nadu and border of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, ragi has been grown for 3,000 years. Somebody with a MBA degree from Wharton School is going to tell that farmer how to grow ragi better. So it's moving very fast towards that. And you should understand the size of the companies and corporates involved.
Right.
Bayer is the largest.
Huge.
It's the giant. Bayer company 3 years ago bought over Monsanto, and Monsanto, which was the giant, is a department in Bayer. So more and more corporate, and then we have started this FPC, farmers, producers, companies or cooperatives or whatever. You can form anything you like, but they are pushing farmers to form companies. Now a group of 20 women, farmers, they form a company. Then the government will advise them to take some local businessman onto the thing, because he knows how to run a business. Now it's a company. It's based on holdings, shares, percentage. In 2 years' time, that local businessman will own the company. In 3 years' time, his company will be sold to a larger Birla Agro or whatever it is. So the corporatization of Indian agriculture, that is the single biggest factor in that distress. I will give you the agrarian crisis in 5 words. Corporate hijack of Indian agriculture.
There are ongoing protests by Adivasis and farmers against land acquisition projects. Do you see the Ken Betwa project as a new version of the displacement politics we saw earlier, like in Narmada?
Very much. In fact, I mean, the displacement politics never stopped, as you know. But in fact, there also Adivasis are standing up, fighting. There you will find a lot of women also fighting to save the river itself from sand mafias. So yes, it's very much a serious problem, and all over the world it's a problem. How much land farmers have lost, how many millions of acres, tens of millions of acres they've lost in the Amazon forests in Brazil. How much, there the indigenous farmers have lost their forests. The Adivasis of Brazil have lost their forest to farming, which is being done to raise beef cattle for United States, because it's much cheaper to raise cattle in Brazil than it is in the United States. So you have all kinds of land acquisition going on a gigantic scale. But the second aspect in India is that not just land acquisition, but shift in cultivation purpose. From 91, we shifted huge amounts of land from food crop cultivation to cash crop cultivation.
Okay, right.
Including things like vanilla, which have no internal market in India, but you're growing it for someone else. And then the price drops. When Kerala started growing vanilla, Kerala and Mangalore, okay, started growing vanilla in the early 2000s, it's because the main suppliers of the United States had a bad harvest. They had a frost, etc. The US sent teams to encourage people in India, in 50 other countries, African countries, to grow vanilla. First 2 seasons, our farmers got fantastic prices. They got 4,000 rupees per kilogram. That was those days $100 per kilogram, not per ton. Malayalam Manorama's agriculture magazine, Karshaka Shri, carried cover photos. Vanilla millionaires, vanilla as they call it, vanilla millionaires, etc. I begged some of my friends, don't make the shift. They said, you're stupid. If I'm being offered 20 times what I'm earning, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I said, okay, do it this season, get out of it. They continued with it. In 3 years' time, 2.5 years' time, price of vanilla was 86 rupees a kilogram in Kerala, 68 rupees a kilogram in Mangalore. Okay, so that entire corporate capture of agriculture is doing this to you.
You have been in journalism for decades. What worries you most about the current generation of journalists?
Here I have to clarify something, that the biggest thing that I want people to understand is that media and journalism are now 2 different things. Journalism is what people like us do for a living. Media are mainly, except for independent holdouts like you and me, the media are institutions which are rent-seeking, profit-seeking institutions. What we call fourth estate is closer to real estate. And that media don't give a damn about journalism. As I was saying just a few days ago in Delhi, the duty of the media is not to inform the public. It's not the duty of the media to inform the public. It is not the duty of the media to build democracy. The duty of the media is to make money for its owners, for its corporate owners. Now these noble principles, those you should demand of journalism. And Indian journalism has a great tradition. But you're also coming, remember that there is fewer and fewer independent platforms for journalists. Yeah. The only thing the Modi government ever did, which I saluted, when they shut down the lockdown in 2020, they declared media journalism as essential service. That not only allowed us to do a job, it protected our jobs. You can't, essential service you can't retrench at will. But still, in 12 to 18 months, the big Indian media houses laid off 3,500 journalists and 10 to 15,000 non-journalist media workers. Now, so that huge difference I want people to understand. 40 years ago, media and journalism were interchangeable terms. Yeah, Gandhi, Ambedkar were both publishers.
Right.
Yeah, and journalists.
Yeah.
So Bhagat Singh was a journalist. He was never an owner of a publication. But in the last 40, from 1991 particularly, but in media from 1985, from when Samir Jain takes over Times of India, you have moved entirely in a situation of, I'm here, and I will say this for them, I will concede that they've been honest and open about it. They say we are in the business of making money. Vinit Jain told the New Yorker magazine, we are not in the newspaper business, we are in the advertising business. Right? So that's one thing. The journalism is another, see, an entire generation has grown up thinking the Bombay Times, Bangalore Times supplement, that is journalism. Another generation has grown up thinking that what they read on WhatsApp is journalism. Yeah, so there is this extremely serious problem. I personally believe that there are fantastic journalists in this country, and that young people, the default mode of young people is idealistic. They want to do things. They want to do something that matters, but they go and join a TV channel, and they're on Republic, asked to do the most reprehensible things. Yeah, so this is the dilemma. How do we save the soul of journalism? And the dilemma of the journalist working in a major, I'm not saying don't work in the major newspapers, but I'm saying the dilemma is, how do I sell my labor without selling my soul? That's the dilemma of the journalist.
Right. Why does mainstream media continue to neglect rural India?
What money is there in covering rural India? See, first of all, I don't know why we should call it mainstream media. We should call it corporate media. How do you call something mainstream that excludes 85% of the population? Not only do they exclude rural India, they exclude urban poor as well.
Yeah.
That's not mainstream. They are mainstream in reach, not in content. So they are, why should I cover you unless there is money in covering you? Yeah. I will cover Bollywood because I get paid for doing that. I get money. I'm running a huge PR agency in the name of media and journalism. So that is the issue there. The media will cover, that's why I said, the job of the media is to make money for their owners, especially their corporate owners. So I will cover you if there is revenue in covering you. In covering the struggling farmers of Mandya and Hassan, what is there in it for me?
Then what will rural India look like in 10 years if nothing changes?
Actually, a lot of things are changing, but mostly for getting worse. Just look at the last 6 months. You had the Trump tariffs. It has destroyed cotton farmers because the tariff comes under the title garments, textiles and apparel.
Okay.
90% of garments and textiles in India are cotton, especially that which we are exporting. Nobody imports from India synthetic fibers. They buy cotton goods because it's cheap. Right. Now they declared a 50% increase in the tariff. When they did that, minimum support price for once in Vidarbha, we had a minimum support price of 8,125 rupees. The highest ever. Just the announcement of that, the price crashed. When I went around Vidarbha, I accompanied on their request, the SKM, the Samyukta Kisan Morcha, and their leaders. When I simply showed them what was happening, when public meetings were held, there were 3,000 farmers, 4,000 farmers. I asked the farmers, how many of you got 8,125 rupees? Not one hand went up. I said, how many of you got 7,500 rupees? Not one hand went up. When I came to 6,500, hands went up.
Okay.
This is one thing. Second, when Trump put that 50%, the Indian government and the media are so pathetic. They never even mention. You might know, but the Indian government, instead of defending its farmers, it removed 11% duty import on cotton. Imagine what it did to the prices. Second, under apparel, leather goods also come. That destroyed hundreds of leather units and tanneries, etc. in Tamil Nadu. They just closed down. And in Maharashtra also it took a hit. In Agra also it took a hit. Now please, I'm sure in Karnataka also, but I don't know of it. But remember that the leather industry, those small units, they are 90% Dalit led. Okay? Who else does that work?
Yeah.
They were finished, they just closed down. Hindu reported hundreds of units closing down in Tamil Nadu last October itself. Then on seafood exports. See, in India, shrimp are not only caught in sea, they are cultivated, right? Farming, fish farming. My native state of Andhra Pradesh, 85% of its seafood export goes to the United States.
Okay.
You put 50% on that, all those farmers went back. Then comes, now you take Iran war. Okay, but why did our government do nothing on it? Because our government is interested in using the farmers as a bargaining chip for the elite. So what do you read about most in the newspapers and tariffs and costs and H-1B visas? Yeah, I want my son to go to Silicon Valley, and if they hit us there, then the elites of society are hurt. So they are bargaining harder for H-1B visas and willing to sacrifice the interests of the farmers. Then this year, now the US-Israel war on Iran, you've seen what it's done to LPG. Do you know that all over tribal Kerala, people are going, the eateries, the Kudumbashri hotels have all switched back to firewood. Now that has an impact on the forest.
Yeah, of course.
And it has an impact on the women. You're in a small space, you're breathing that firewood exhaust, right? The smoke is killing you. Then We are carrying a story on Monday. Pari has carried several stories on how that war there is affecting poor people in India and rural India. In UP, we have found the midday meal is devastated. The one decent meal children get in this country. What happens? UP has 19 million students in primary and upper primary schools. All the schools, 150,000 of them or so, have LPG connections and no LPG. Okay. Then the firewood is being sold to the hotels and restaurants. So every day, teachers are going out collecting firewood.
Oh.
The story will come on Monday. It's called Ceasefire in Iran, Wood Fires in Uttar Pradesh.
Is farming still a viable livelihood in India?
See, we have made it unviable by policy. You can likewise make it viable by policy.
Is that possible?
It's in our hands. Oh yes, it's possible. It need not look exactly like it was 20, 30 years ago, but it can be much more remunerative. It depends on whether you are running your society for corporate power or for farmers. You decide what your policy is going to, who you are making your policies for. Farming can be viable. And I'm telling you, look at the example across your border in Kerala. The Kudumbashree farmers. They are a huge collective. Kudumbashree has 4.3 million members, but only one set of groups, 700,000. There are some 250,000 Kudumbashree farms.
Okay.
Women involved in farming. These cooperatives or whatever societies, they range from 4 women to 10 women. The biggest farm is 1 hectare. And they're leasing land, they're landless.
Oh.
Yeah, except during the climate change tragedies, they were making profits. And they have the larger Kudumbashree to support them. They don't have a problem with getting credit from the banks because in many villages, Kudumbashree is the biggest depositor.
Okay.
4.3 million women across Kerala.
Wonderful.
So there are various things that can be done.
After 45 years in journalism, what still angers you?
That will be a list which will take all night. I'm just saying the insensitivity and cruelty of consciously planning to escalate inequality to favor corporate profit. You place people over profits and you don't give a damn about the sufferings of ordinary people. Yeah? And you betray your constitution, you betray your freedom struggle. I guess that is what enrages me most.
And what still gives you hope?
People. Look, with all the odds stacked against them, the farmers of India waged a struggle in 2021 at the gates of Delhi and brought the government to its knees. Yeah?
Yep.
So they taught us the meaning of the word resistance. In Maharashtra, the poorest farmers, Adivasi farmers, walked 182 kilometers from Nashik to Mumbai and brought the government to its knees. And they showed us that if you want to fight, you can.
If a young journalist wants to cover rural India today, what is the first myth they must unlearn?
See, I will say the first young journalist, whether rural India or urban India, the first thing they need to understand is that when I go to talk to that farmer in Mandya, I am coming from a position of privilege. We must first recognize that we are not talking as equals. We should try to talk as equals. When I'm speaking to the women of Kudumbashree, I'm coming from a position of privilege. Except that the women of Kudumbashree are very advanced. They don't care who you are or how privileged you are. They will knock you off. But that is the first. Second is, there is no journalism that matters without empathy. That's the second thing. Third, there is no journalism without curiosity. You have to be curious about the lives of others. In one line, I will tell you this: what should motivate, what should drive you is, for me, the only journalism that matters is journalism where the J stands for justice.
Tell me one story that you can't forget.
There's about 2,000 I can't forget. Yeah, but I'm just for my new work, I'm revisiting a lot of villages that I went to. And one is a village in Vidarbha in Yavatmal district, where the suicides were at the peak. And this village, Banjara village, in one family, in one household, had 3 weddings and a funeral in 24 hours.
Oh.
Yeah. So the head of the family, who was also the head of the tribe, the Banjaras in that area, he was the Bada Pitaji, the big father. So Banjaras are nomadic. They come from all over the country for those marriages. All poor communities started having mass marriages to save money in the farm crisis. So Banjaras came from Karnataka, and it's very peculiar. In Karnataka they are SC, in Andhra they are ST, like that. So they came there, and 3 weddings were put together. Now, for the Bada Pitaji, the big father of the clan, patriarch, he has to look out. The marriage of every girl is his responsibility. He went out to buy saris and stuff, and he couldn't afford it, and he's a person of some significance in the social hierarchy. No shopkeeper, everybody was in crisis, nobody gave him that. He killed himself.
Oh.
Now the children wanted to call off the wedding, but the elders of the village said, no, your Bada Pitaji killed himself for your wedding. And if all families will go bankrupt, if they have to go back to Rajasthan, Karnataka, Gujarat, Andhra without a wedding. So they got the wedding together. And one of the most moving things in my lifetime, the poorest people there lined up and made wedding gifts of 1 kg of rice, old saris, some vessels, and the entire village celebrated its grief in the wedding.
Were you present at that moment?
No. We heard about it and rushed there. But people were still collecting stuff to help the family.
Time for a quick switch. Short answers only. Whatever comes first to your mind. Print or digital?
I am a print junkie who converted to digital in 2014.
Field reporting or newsroom?
Field reporting.
Hope or anger?
Both.
Optimist or realist?
When asked to choose between optimism and pessimism, I say that between these two, there is a territory called hope. I live there.
Award or impact?
Obviously impact.
Policy failure or media failure?
Both. But policy failure comes first.
City or village?
I'm an urban animal, but I just love visiting the countryside. And in my career for more than 30 years, I've spent 250 to 270 days a year in the countryside.
Tea at a dhaba or coffee in a newsroom?
Actually, I am from the south and I prefer coffee in the small shops, even on the road from Bangalore to Mysore. That is any day preferable to tea anywhere.
One word to describe today's media?
Sold out.
If you weren't a journalist, what would you have been?
I haven't the faintest idea because I've never thought about doing anything else. Maybe I could have been in academia, and
Okay.
I was trained as a historian.
One thing about rural India that urban India would be jealous of?
Many things. One, there is a pace of life that I think we need, but there is a certain bonding, a certain, appreciation and valuing of nature in a country which has 780 living languages. And I feel rich. Unlike those who are frightened by multiple people having multiple languages and want to impose Hindi on everybody. I'm saying the thing about that is the diversity across rural India.
If your book, Everybody Loves a Good Drought, had to be retitled today, what would you call it?
I would still call it the same thing. Everybody loves a good drought, because the cynical principles in operation under neoliberalism continue the same way.
Thank you so much for the time and the work you continue to do. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. My pleasure.